right, so this is a project that has been on my back burner for several years. Finally decided to put it together, and the Sorcerer's Cave and the Mystic Wood, both of these games out of the 70s, and Mystic Wood being an overland travel, and the Sorcerer's Cave a dungeon crawl, one of the first dungeon crawls, sort of born out of that era of Dungeons and Dragons and wanting to have a solo game or a cooperative game that could give you all of the fun of a dungeon delve without all of that heavy crunchiness of a RPG, especially back in the 70s. So let's take a look. So the first thing is the box, of course, and so this box is one that I made from scratch and augmented out the corners here like that. And let's take a look. The lid was actually from a Post-Human Saga box that I painted and dressed up with the appropriate imagery here. So you can see that. And then the actual box pieces, I had an old Heroquest board that I pieced together and made the rest of the box from. But let's take a look. All right, so in the rule book, I did an ode to the original box on the front cover of this one, the Sorcerer's Cave, and then the original rules are in here all the way up to the new rules. And so what this looks like here is the lair of the Sorcerer. So this is a whole bunch of house rules and different other rules, fan-made content that take the game in a whole bunch of different directions. And so now there are about 4 different expansions or so. The Neath Town, I like that, right? Beneath Town, Neath Town. Sewers. We just looked at some other house rules there. There's a whole town, a sewers. This is a scenario, Bram Stoker's Dracula, which has some castle pieces here and a whole story behind it with different chapters that you run, and Neath Town Player's Guide. So this is the whole town, how it sets up. Start with the gateway, come to the town, into the shrine, etc. And then here's how everything gets set up. These pieces don't get drawn randomly like the rest of the dungeon. They just get put out, and so you have an access to a thing that you can come back to, sell your trinkets, etc. So that is the rule book. So pretty good there. Here we have the Mystic Wood rule book. This one is a little thinner. The game is a lot less complex, I'd say, and is all about knights, right? Going through the wood and each questing to be the hero. And so I have the original Mystic Wood instructions, the rule books, and then some fan-made augmentations and stuff in there as well. All right, so now the main box. So I had some room in the box here for a dice tower, and so I created a mini dice tower in here. Also made this from foam. You can see what it looks like there. And as far as how it works, let's take a look here. So we have our dice, and they just right in there just like that. So I was thinking about just doing a regular sort of dice tray kind of deal in here, and then came upon the idea of why not take it a little bit further and have a little mini dice tower. I think I like this, and I might go forward in the future with just mini dice towers. I think each player needs their own, and it's going to save a ton of room on the table. So pretty excited about that little creation born from this project here. All right, so let's first look at the Mystic Wood. So instead of cards, the original game came with cards. This one has some tokens, and so these I have made, and it's cardstock sandwiched between some chipboard here, and so you can see what those look like. The dwarf here. There was a slight misalignment. I don't know if I care to redo it and try to get it back, but I mean it's going to facilitate the game, I think, just fine. So we have that there. So now instead of drawing cards when you go to a different part of the wood, you would just simply draw a token, and then that token can live there if the knights don't want to engage that, etc. So there we have that. And then this pretty much is the entire game for the Mystic Wood. We have the knights here, and each of their own abilities in here. The gates, Enchanted Gate, the Earthly Gate, the Celestial Gate, and you have the Earthly Wood and the Celestial Wood cards here too. And so these are all made from cardstock, and then I laminated them. Here I wanted to have a smaller table presence. The normal, or the original game has huge cards, right, which take up an entire table space, and I wanted to be able to do this in about a 3x3 area, which is pretty much doable now. So there's that. As far as the playing pieces, I found some double-sided knights, and these are so cool. Little paper standees. I played with the idea of doing these with actual miniatures, but in the end just decided that little paper miniatures would be really cool, and I do like the standee piece. And these are just double-sided. You can see the shield on this side, and then shields on the other side of them there, the arm of the sword. So really digging those. The standee for the cave, for the Sorcerer's Cave, is a party standee, right? Because you just have a whole group of people that you're moving through the dungeon with, and then of course various dice in there. All right, so this is the Sorcerer's Cave game right in here. So a few more things, and all of this stuff here pretty much is through fan augmentation. You have different level tokens to keep track of what level you're on, because as you go through the adventure, you're going to experience areas, right, and stairs, and so these stairs go down. There are doorways, which are stairs leading up, like so, and so the tokens have to keep track of that. And so different areas that you can encounter, and the way that it works is when you put down a card that is just a corridor, no cards are drawn, right? And then when you come into a normal room area, then that's when you would draw the cards here. So some of these have special instructions on it, and there's a cave-in there, and also did these cards in a smaller footprint so that as we're playing, it's not going to take up the whole floor. I think the original game had you trying to put this thing on the floor and playing it that way. So because you would end up with a dungeon that went from one room to the other, kind of thing. And then the back of the cards for the Sorcerer's Cave, went and found this on the interwebs, and this is also double-sided cardstock here and laminated right there. So quite a few area cards here, and this is the main gateway. This is the starting point of the Sorcerer's Cave. And then this one here. Okay, so currently the Bram Stoker's Dracula, I am taking a look at that and playing through some scenarios, so I have some cards set up here for that. And then you can see here, this is the castle keep, and these go together and fit like that, kind of a deal. Like that. You can see right there. And anyway, the idea behind that Bram Stoker's scenario is that we are starting in the gateway, we're making our way down to the Neath Town, going to the tavern to meet up with a dude who has a map, and then we're going to descend further into the caves to get to the castle where we can kill the vampires and save the world. Yeah. All right. These cards here, these are for the sewer system, and you have special cards just for the sewer system, and then curse cards, turn to stone, poison cards. So there's different effects now that you can be afflicted with, and then the rest of the cards here are all for just adventuring through the caves. And didn't bother counting up how many cards there are. There's probably close to 200 here. And then all the upgraded artwork. The fan love that this game has received has just been phenomenal. And the backing is something that I just found on the interwebs again. And this is also double-sided. It's actually 2 pieces of cardstock that I laminated like that. And then the final piece, the box, Shimmery Magic Cave, the Sorcerer's Cave. And then you can see the interior there from the old Heroquest game board that I had just hanging out. And then this sucker just fits right back in here, like that. Ta-da! And then we have our dice tower. And there you go, guys. Sorcerer's Cave, Mystic Wood combo build. What do you think?